Saving money to retire is important to a lot of people, but when medical problems arise and long-term care is needed, it can cause some serious problems. So long-term care advisor and author Josh Gifford has some tips to help you live out your retirement dreams, because we all have different retirement dreams, right? And it's just how we get there, and we have to start now.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the most important part.
Yeah, you have to start early in order to reap the rewards. So why did you decide to write a book on this topic in the first place?
You know, I never imagined that I would be writing a book all about long-term care. However, over the last 10 years of being in this industry, I have seen more wealth and retirement dreams lost simply to an unplanned event like long-term care, right? And so I want to be able to educate people on this topic. Professionally, I design retirement income plans. And a large part of that is focusing on areas that can completely derail your financial security in retirement. Long-term care just happens to be one of those things.
And how heartbreaking it must be. I mean, I'm sure you've seen situations where people have planned all their lives and all of a sudden, you know, most of it or maybe all of it's gone in one moment.
Absolutely, and that's what we're trying to help them avoid, right? And so understanding that the sooner you can start planning, the better off you're going to be.
And so how big of a problem is long-term care, and do you think people think about it enough?
You know, that's a great question. And sadly, it's a massive problem, okay? We have over 10,000 people turning 65 every single day in the United States. And longtermcare.gov tells us that nearly 70% of these people will use some form of long-term care, okay? Combine that with the National Institute on Aging, and they're telling us now that every 66 seconds, someone's being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so, yes, it's a massive problem, and we need to be able to start planning for those things, because if we don't, we could essentially put ourselves, our loved ones in jeopardy as far as not only their retirement, but also their financial security as a whole.
And so diving in a little deeper, we say long-term care is a big problem, but literally what does that mean in terms of facts and figures?
So, as I mentioned to you, like I said, 70% of them will require some type of long-term care. However, you know, we want to look at it as we start the long-term care conversation by asking two simple questions, okay? Number one, if you needed care, where would you like to receive care, okay? In your home, an assisted living facility, or a nursing home facility, okay? And many people will say in their home, you know, for obvious reasons. But understanding that we want to look at that as a whole and say, okay, we've done such a good job saving for retirement, we don't want to get off track due to something like this, okay? The next question then becomes, what asset would you liquidate first to pay for this care, okay? And most people will say their IRA, their 401k, because typically that's the largest pools of money that they have available to pay for that care. And looking at it as, like I said, a full financial view and understanding that these things, the sooner we start, you know, this type of coverage is similar to life insurance. So we don't want an ailment to, you know, come up later on and that would knock us out of receiving some type of quality coverage.
Oh, the costs can just add up like that, and I mean, they can become really, really big and unmanageable. So what should a viewer do if they're concerned about this and they don't really know where to turn or where to start?
So first, I would have them obviously speak to an advisor who not only specializes in long-term care, but also one that can help them preserve the rest of their assets, okay? Understanding that when we look at long-term care, it's not just the cost of care, it's the issues surrounding your family as well, because a lot of times they're the ones that are the caregivers, and we need to be able to start putting ourselves in a position to say, okay, we've done a really good job, we're living our retirement years just as we expected, but now we need to make sure, worst case scenario, we're protected, and we have our families protected as well.
Yeah, we have to think about our families too, in addition to ourselves, sometimes even more, because they'll be taking care of a lot of our things. So again, we'll find a lot of this information in the book. If you had to just wrap up and say what people can walk away with when they turn the pages of the book, what would you say?
Honestly, it's a real life guideline to understanding, one, the problem like we talked about today, but also there are solutions available for people, right? And so we appreciate you just letting us come on and today and share this great information, because ultimately the book was written not only to bring awareness, but also just to bring hope to you and your loved ones.
And I'm sure this resonates with so many people watching and listening. Josh, pleasure to see you. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. To learn more, call 480-621-3657 or visit southwestltc.com. And the next 30 viewers to call will receive a free copy of Josh's book.